Okay, so are you ready to, like, decode attraction?
Because today we are diving deep, deep, deep into what really makes someone appealing.
Specifically to women.
We're going to be going through what some people call amazing facts.
Okay.
But honestly,
Some of the source material is a little out there.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild ride, so buckle up.
We're going to see if we can, figure out what's real and what's just for entertainment.
Right, separate the kind of genuine insights from the fluff.
Exactly.
I'm always up for a challenge,
Yeah, right.
especially when it comes to, kind of unraveling the mysteries of human attraction. I mean, it's a topic that's, people have been thinking about it for centuries.
It really is like this puzzle, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
mix of like biology, psychology,
You throw some culture in there.
personal experience.
For sure.
It's a lot. And our source material, they just dive right in. They say women are more attracted to a person that will be able to provide for them and their offspring.
Okay, it feels very like caveman, cavewoman.
Yeah, it's definitely tapping into those sort of, primal instincts.
Right,
And in a way that's really at the heart of evolutionary psychology.
right.
That the idea that some of our preferences, even today, even now, might be rooted in what helped our ancestors survive.
And reproduce.
Okay, so are we really hardwired to be drawn to providers?
Or is that, like, is there actual science behind that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more nuanced than just saying like women just want to partner with, with a big bank account.
Right.
It's more interesting, I think, to kind of think about it in terms of our evolutionary history.
Okay.
Right, like way back when. A partner's ability to, to secure resources, especially in those times when things were scarce.
Right, when food was hard to come by,
Yeah.
shelter was hard to come by.
Right.
That would have been crucial
For survival.
for survival, for the woman, for any
Right.
potential children.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like that instinct would still be somewhere in our, DNA.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they even talk about how women tend to prefer slightly older partners,
Right,
which kind of plays into that whole stability and resources idea.
totally. Yeah, and we see this pattern across cultures.
Mhm.
If you look at sort of, relationships across the board, women on average tend to be, drawn to partners who are a bit older.
Okay.
Now, whether or not that's a conscious desire for financial security, that's, a whole other,
Right.
can of worms.
I think there are probably layers to this. It could be societal norms. It could be, what we perceive as maturity. It could
Right.
even be, the fact that men and women often hit their peak earning potential at different points in life.
Oh, that's true.
So,
So many factors.
lots to consider.
Okay, but this next one, this is where it gets a little, it's intriguing and kind of frustrating at the same time.
Okay.
They say that women remember those who ignore them.
More than those who are super attentive.
Oh, interesting. So it's like the power of playing hard to get.
Is that what it is?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's definitely tapping into that psychology of scarcity,
Okay.
which we see everywhere, not just in dating.
Right.
Right.
We tend to place a higher value on things that are harder to obtain.
Things that feel more exclusive,
Yeah.
more rare.
Like when you see a line out the door for a restaurant,
Yes, exactly.
you're like, that place has to be amazing.
You just assume it's good.
It has to be.
Right, because
Yeah.
there's a line. And so, in relationships, if someone is showering you with constant attention, it can start to feel,
Less special.
less special.
Less earned.
Right.
Whereas, a little bit of mystery.
Okay.
That sense that, okay, this person's affection isn't like a guaranteed thing.
That can make them more alluring.
That wanting what you can't have thing.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, this next one, this is where the source material gets a little out there.
Okay.
And I'm going to quote this directly. It is scientifically proven that a woman will find a man sexier if he wears sunglasses.
Okay.
Supposedly, it makes your face look more symmetrical.
And mysterious.
Right?
Are sunglasses really the key to, like, unlocking irresistible sex appeal?
I don't know.
I know I have questions. I
Yeah.
have follow-up questions.
Or I think the scientifically proven part, maybe they're exaggerating just a tad.
Right. Yeah.
It's a fun idea, though.
It is a fun idea.
I'm picturing, like, scientists in lab coats,
Yeah.
studying, like, the effects of different sunglasses styles.
Right, exactly. Sunglasses on, sunglasses off.
Yeah.
Which one's more attractive?
Yes.
But even though that image is kind of hilarious, right?
Right.
There might be a little something to the underlying idea.
Okay.
Think about what makes a face attractive.
Symmetry is a big one.
Okay.
And when you're wearing sunglasses, you're kind of creating this, artificial symmetry.
By obscuring part of your face.
Right, okay.
And then, like we talk about with, playing hard to get, sunglasses
Yeah.
add that element of mystery.
So it's not that sunglasses, magically make you a heartthrob,
Right.
but they might, enhance certain features that people already find appealing.
Subtly. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
It's all about perception
Exactly.
and those little, subconscious cues that we pick up on.
For sure.
Okay, because speaking of cues, our source goes into some pretty interesting territory with, physical traits.
Okay.
Apparently beards,
Yeah.
height,
Huh?
even having a deep voice
Right.
can be attractive to women.
Sure.
Okay, well, as someone who's definitely pro-beard, I'm curious to hear, the scientific take on this.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to those preferences?
Or is it all just, subjective?
You might be surprised to learn that there's actually quite a bit of research on this.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's take beards, for example.
Okay.
Studies have shown that women tend to perceive men with facial hair as being more mature.
It's more dominant.
Some even say, better potential fathers.
Interesting. And our source kind of touched on that whole dad beard thing,
Right.
like how it makes men seem more reliable or something.
Right. Exactly.
What about height, though?
Because they were pretty adamant that women prefer taller partners.
Height is a fascinating one.
Because, again, in so many cultures, we see this kind of very consistent finding that women, on average, tend to be drawn to partners who are taller than them.
Right.
Of course, not every woman is out there searching for a giant.
Right, of course. Height is often associated with masculinity,
Okay.
strength.
Even social status.
It's like those, old Hollywood heartthrobs.
Yeah.
You think of, Cary Grant, Clark Gable. They were all, pretty tall dudes.
Exactly. And that ties into something called the halo effect.
The what?
The halo effect, which is basically, we see a positive trait,
Okay.
like height. Could be a nice smile, could be, a stylish outfit. And our brains tend to connect the dots.
Right.
They assume that that person must have other positive qualities, even if we haven't actually observed them.
So we're wired to make these, snap judgments,
Kind of.
even when it comes to something as complex as attraction.
In a way, yeah. Our brains are constantly looking for patterns and trying to sort of,
Make sense of the world around us.
Yeah.
But, let's not forget about the power of a voice.
Oh, right.
Our source mentioned that women are often drawn to those deep, husky voices.
Yes.
Even said it's associated with confidence.
Okay.
So another one of those evolutionary echoes.
I have to admit, a deep voice can be incredibly captivating.
Yeah.
Is there actually, a biological reason for that preference?
Well, it sounds like our source certainly thinks so.
They claim that a deep voice signals strength,
Right. Right.
which, back in the day would have been super important.
Fending off predators, that sort of thing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
Exactly. And it's true.
Studies have shown a link between, deeper voices in men.
And perceptions of physical strength.
Okay.
So, from an evolutionary standpoint.
A partner who could protect you and your offspring.
Right.
That's a major plus.
Makes sense.
But like most things in attraction.
It's never just one factor.
Right. It's like this whole
Oh.
symphony of
Right.
biology and psychology
Exactly.
all playing out.
All the things.
And speaking of psychology,
Our source also makes some interesting claims about how,
women are supposedly wired to be more perceptive,
okay.
especially when it comes to reading emotions.
And picking up on those subtle, nonverbal cues.
Uh-huh.
They even say that women have a stronger sense of smell.
That's all right.
What's the deal with that?
Well, there's actually a growing body of research.
On gender differences and,
Sensory perception and nonverbal
oh,
communication.
Yeah.
And while we always want to avoid,
harmful stereotypes. Studies do suggest that, on average.
women might be more attuned to certain emotional nuances
Okay.
and nonverbal cues.
Yeah, that tracks with my own experience.
I feel like women often just know when something's up, even if you haven't said a word. It's like they have a sixth sense or something.
Right, and it's not just, intuition,
There might be kind of biological underpinnings as well.
Okay.
For example, some studies have looked at how women's sense of smell
Seems to fluctuate throughout their menstrual cycle.
with heightened sensitivity during ovulation.
Oh, wow. So that whole cucumber and licorice thing our source mentioned.
Maybe there's a reason certain scents are thought to be appealing.
Could be.
Although,
Well,
personally,
Banksga, I'd recommend that particular combination.
yeah, I think we can probably leave that one up to individual preference.
Yeah, I think that's for the best.
But on a more serious note,
Understanding these potential differences.
in perception and communication,
Yeah.
whether they stem from biology or socialization or,
Some combination of both.
can be incredibly valuable.
Okay.
It's about bridging that gap.
In understanding between genders and learning to communicate more effectively.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day,
It's all about connection, right?
Yep.
And speaking of connection, I think it's time to address.
the elephant in the room,
Okay.
or should I say, the more eyebrow-raising claims from our source.
All right. I'm all ears.
Okay, because amidst all the, evolutionary biology,
And talk of, scientifically proven sunglasses appeal.
right,
We also get lines like, women crave sex more than men.
and a woman will never like you over praising another woman, even your own mother.
Okay.
Like, how do we even unpack those statements?
Yeah, I think we unpack those with a healthy dose of skepticism
Okay.
and a reminder that generalizations about entire genders
Are almost never accurate or helpful.
right.
Human behavior, especially when it comes to something.
As multifaceted as attraction
Right.
is influenced by so many factors.
Biology, personal experiences, cultural norms.
The individual preferences.
Right.
It's incredibly complex.
It's like saying everyone with blue eyes loves pizza.
right.
It doesn't make
It
sense.
doesn't always add up.
No.
And I think when we make those sweeping statements,
They kind of ignore the beautiful.
like
look,
diversity within any population. So
Right.
while, research might find
some slight average differences, right?
between genders in certain behaviors,
Or preferences.
we have to be incredibly careful.
Not to perpetuate harmful stereotypes.
Right.
Or reduce individuals to simplistic categories.
It's like you were saying before, it's nuanced.
It is. It is.
But while it's fascinating to explore,
Evolutionary and biological roots of attraction.
yeah,
We can't let those explanations kind of overshadow.
the power of individual experiences and preferences.
Right, absolutely. We're not just slaves to our biology.
Right.
We are complex beings
Yeah.
shaped by,
A tapestry of influences.
and honestly,
I think that's what makes attraction so captivating.
yeah,
It's this intricate dance.
between nature and nurture,
Right.
conscious choice and unconscious bias.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is a lot.
It really has been quite a journey.
Going from caveman instincts.
To scientifically proven sunglasses.
Right.
And everything in between.
It's a lot.
But if there's one thing I hope our listeners take away from all of this,
It's that attraction.
is rarely black and white.
Right.
The spectrum is
It's a whole kaleidoscope
a kaleidoscope.
of possibilities.
Okay, I love that.
And on that note, I think we'll leave you with this.
If attraction is this intricate interplay of forces
How much control do we really have?
over who we're drawn to,
That's the question.
something to ponder, right?
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Into the fascinating world of attraction.